Hello everyone, welcome to this week's video. We have some Mazel Tovs to start with. Firstly, to Frida Bakerman on her new great grandson. That's a daughter for Sharon and David Hudley, a great grandson also for Tony Hudley. We wish them all Mazel Tov, both on the birth and the bris, which they have celebrated this week. Also Sheila Gore, had a new great grandchild, and Mazel Tov to Merton and Hilary Cohen on the engagement of their grandson Lior in Israel. So this week we move on to the Seder of Chayei Soroh, which means the life of Sarah, and it begins actually with the death of Sarah. It tells us how Abraham's wife, Avram's wife Sarah, passed away at the age of 127, and Abraham had to work hard to organize her a dedicated burial spot, buying what we know today as the cave of Machpelah from the Hittites, the Chittim, for very, very expensive sum of money, 400 silver shekelim, which was a huge amount in those days. And then most of the Seder is dominated by the story of finding a wife for Yitzchak, for Isaac. Abraham turns his attention to his trusted servant, Eliezer, who we're told was Moshe B'chol Asher Lo, who ruled over all his affairs. He was the senior manager. Avram had a great empire, he had great wealth, he had money, he had animals, he had lands, he had servants, and it was all controlled and managed by his great servant Eliezer. And the rabbis tell us that Eliezer had a daughter, and he thought, well, this would make a good shidduch for Yitzchak. But Avraham Avinu told him, don't go to the daughters who are here. I want you to go to my family. I want you to go back to where I come from, to Choron, and find a member of my family for Yitzchak to marry. And why didn't he want to take a local girl? So we're told because the Midas, he saw that the girls of Canaan didn't have refined character. Even though they were, Eliezer's daughter would have been God-fearing, she was brought up by a fantastic and great man. Nevertheless, he wanted somebody who had innately within them, he knew within his family, they were people of outstanding character. And that is, of course, seen further in the story, where Eliezer gets to the well, and he wants to work out how am I going to find a good girl. He said, I'm going to devise a test. I'll see a girl, and ask her for water, and see if she gives me water, and see if she thinks of the camels. And that's what happened when Rivka came. She didn't just give him the water, she gave all the camels to drink. We can imagine just how much water 10 camels drink. We're told she was only 3 years old, schlepping the pitcher onto her shoulder, each time back and forth. Can't imagine how many times she had to do it until she'd fed him, watered him, and 10 hungry, thirsty camels. And that showed that she was a girl of chesed, a girl of kindness. And that Rashi says, and therefore she was ru'uya hilo, she was fitting, and therefore she was worthy of entering Bevesa Shel Avram, the household of Abraham. 1 minute, why the household of Abraham, the commentaries ask? It should be she was entering the house of Yitzchak. And they explain quite a deep idea. They explain that Abraham was a pillar of kindness. Yitzchak, Isaac, his service was called Gevurah. It was slightly different. It was much more strict. It was about focusing on connection to God. It was much more intimate with God. But it wasn't focused so much outside of his outside to the world. And therefore, Eliezer understood that we needed to balance. He needed to bring somebody who would fit into the house of Abraham, who would continue the messages of kindness, and would have that openness and the ability to relate to people, and she would, so to speak, moderate and temper Yitzchak's much more intense levels of what we call gevura, of intimate connection with God, focusing on davening and learning and mitzvahs, but in a much more intense way. And he understood that he would need a girl of kindness, a girl of action to complement him. And that's one of the ideas we can take from this, is that partnerships and great marriages are built on not just being the same. It's been shown in studies that often people will go in relationships will try and look for people who have the same as them. But actually, really, great marriages, great partnerships are always made by people who have also great differences between them, because they can complement each other and therefore, so to speak, fill in. One's strengths can fill in the other's weaknesses and vice versa. And that's what made Yitzchak and Rivka this great couple, because Rivka took the kindness, the outward-looking chesed that she had proven by feeding all these camels, and Yitzchak brought forth to the table a new dimension. He added to this kindness. He added the concept of an intimacy with God, and together they helped build the great characteristics that we have as the Jewish people. Wish you all a wonderful Shabbos and all the best.